Ever dreamed of seeing a real-life mermaid? The kind you read about in fairy tales with flowing hair and a shimmering tail? Well, what if I told you that back in the 1800s, thousands of people believed they had? This is the unbelievable true story of the Fiji mermaid, one of history's greatest hoaxes. Our story begins in 1842, a time when the world was full of mystery and discovery. People were fascinated by the unknown, and the oceans held the biggest secrets of all. Sailors would come back with tales of strange and wonderful creatures from distant lands. So, when the famous showman P.T. Barnum announced he had a genuine, preserved mermaid, the public went absolutely wild. Imagine the buzz in New York City. Newspapers were plastered with sensational headlines and dramatic illustrations of a beautiful, enchanting mermaid. Barnum, a master of publicity, claimed this creature was caught off the coast of the Fiji Islands, hence the name, the Fiji Mermaid. He painted a picture of a breathtaking being, half maiden, half fish, a true wonder of nature. The hype was incredible. People from all walks of life, rich and poor, educated and uneducated, lined up for hours, clutching their tickets, eager to lay eyes on this miracle. They paid their hard-earned money and filed into Barnum's American Museum. The room would have been dimly lit, adding to the suspense. In the center, under glass, was the main attraction. But what they saw wasn't the graceful, beautiful creature from the posters. Instead, it was grotesque. It was a small, shriveled, mummified thing, only about 3 feet long. It had the torso, head, and arms of a monkey, frozen in a terrifying, open-mouthed scream. Its teeth were bared, its hands clenched into tiny fists. And stitched, rather crudely, to this horrifying upper body was the tail of a large fish. It was the stuff of nightmares. It looked less like a beautiful sea maiden and more like something that had crawled out of the darkest depths of the ocean. But here's the crazy part. People bought it. Why? Well, Barnum was a genius at manipulation. He hired a fake naturalist, a man he called Dr. J. Griffin, who was actually his associate Levi Lyman. Dr. Griffin would stand by the exhibit and give lectures, claiming to have examined the mermaid personally. He'd use complicated scientific-sounding language to convince the crowds of its authenticity. He'd talk about its anatomy, its potential habitat, and how it was a missing link in evolution. The public, who trusted the authority of a scientist, was completely taken in. Naturalists and scientists of the day were stumped. Some were immediately skeptical, pointing out the obvious inconsistencies. But without being able to properly examine it, they couldn't definitively debunk it. Barnum controlled access to the mermaid, only allowing quick glances. He fanned the flames of debate in the newspapers, creating even more publicity. Any controversy was good publicity. If scientists were arguing about it, it must be important, right? The lines grew longer. Barnum's museum became the talk of the town and then the country. The Fiji mermaid went on tour, drawing massive crowds wherever it went. It was a cultural phenomenon. Everyone wanted to see the hideous but fascinating creature for themselves. Barnum knew exactly what he was doing. He once famously said, "There's a sucker born every minute," and the Fiji mermaid was his proof. He wasn't selling a beautiful mermaid. He was selling a curiosity, a spectacle, something so strange you just had to see it to believe it. So, where did this monstrous creation actually come from? The truth is just as bizarre as the exhibit itself. The mermaid wasn't from Fiji at all. It was most likely created by Japanese fishermen decades earlier. In Japan, there's a long tradition of creating these kinds of hybrid creatures. Often for religious purposes or as folk art, they would skillfully stitch the upper body of a monkey onto the lower body of a fish. An American sea captain named Samuel Barrett Eads bought it in Japan around 1822, believing it was real. He spent a fortune on it, hoping to display it and make his own fortune. Unfortunately for Captain Eads, he died at sea. His son inherited the mermaid and, falling on hard times, sold it to another sea captain, who in turn sold it to Moses Kimball, the owner of the Boston Museum. Kimball knew Barnum, and the two showmen cooked up the scheme together. Barnum leased the mermaid from Kimball and then launched his massive publicity campaign with the fake Dr. Griffin and the sensational stories. The scam was brilliant in its execution. By presenting it as a scientific curiosity, Barnum gave it an air of legitimacy. By making it ugly and strange, he made it even more compelling. A beautiful mermaid might have been dismissed as an obvious fake, but this twisted, monstrous thing. It looked so real, so disturbingly plausible, that it captured the public's imagination. Eventually, the truth did come out. Scientists finally got a closer look and confirmed what the skeptics had suspected all along. It was a fraud. A clever, well-crafted piece of taxidermy, but a fraud nonetheless. The top half was a monkey. The bottom half was a fish, expertly stitched together and dried. But did the revelation hurt Barnum? Not at all. In fact, it might have even helped his reputation as the ultimate showman, the prince of humbugs. People almost admired his audacity. They had been part of a grand piece of entertainment. They had a great story to tell their friends and family. Even after it was exposed, the Fiji Mermaid remained a popular attraction. The secret was out, but people still wanted to see the famous hoax for themselves. The original Fiji Mermaid was likely destroyed in one of the many fires that plagued Barnum's museums. However, its legacy lives on. Several replicas were made, and you can still see them in museums of the strange and unusual around the world today, a testament to one of the most successful and audacious scams in history. The story of the Fiji Mermaid tells us so much about the power of marketing, the desire to believe in the impossible, and the genius of P.T. Barnum. He didn't just sell a fake mermaid. He sold a story, an experience, and a controversy. He understood human psychology better than anyone. He knew that sometimes people don't want the simple truth. They want to be amazed, even if it means being fooled. So the next time you see something online that seems too weird or too good to be true, remember the Fiji Mermaid. Remember the thousands of people who stared in awe at a monkey, sewn to a fish, and believed they were looking at a wonder of the natural world. It's a powerful reminder that a good story can be more convincing than the truth. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this dive into historical hoaxes, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more unbelievable true stories. Let me know in the comments what other historical mysteries you'd like me to cover. See you in the next video.